Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Chapter 19.
It starts with pure chaos for Liu Bei, a guy known for his principles, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly, he's in deep trouble.
He really is. The sources paint this picture of just a brutal assault. You've got Gao Shen and Zhang Liao hitting Guan Yu's cap hard.
Right.
And then Lu Bu himself goes straight for Zhang Fei's camp.
Wow, Lu Bu leading the charge, so Liu Bei tries to help.
Yeah, he tries to ride in, provide backup, but it's too late. Both his brothers' armies, they just collapse, completely routed.
Oh.
And the text mentions Lu Bu split his forces, attacked from the rear. It was fast, very decisive. Liu Bei's left with like a few dozen horsemen, and he has to flee desperately back towards Pei City.
And Lu Bu's right behind him, isn't he?
Hot on his heels. Liu Bei's yelling for the drawbridge to be lowered.
Must have been terrifying.
Absolutely. And Lu Bu is so close, apparently, that the city guards, they couldn't even shoot arrows for fear of hitting Liu Bei himself.
Okay.
So the gate comes down, Liu Bei gets in, but Lu Bu's forces are right there. They just pour into the city after him.
So he's trapped.
Seems like it. And this is where the story takes a really sharp turn. Facing capture, Liu Bei makes this agonizing choice.
What does he do?
He abandons his wife and his children, jumps on a horse and bolts out the west gate, alone.
Wow, wow. Abandons his family. That really challenges the image of the noble hero, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's a stark reminder of the brutal realities they faced. Survival first, maybe. But then what happens next with Lu Bu is maybe even more surprising.
Lu Bu, the guy famous for betraying everyone.
That's the one. He shows up at Liu Bei's house, finds the family.
Okay, this is bad.
You'd think so. But Mizu is there, and instead of fighting, which would be suicide, he confronts Lu Bu, bravely, I should add.
How? What does he say?
He appeals directly to Lu Bu's sense of honor, surprisingly. He says something like, a great man doesn't abandon another's wife. And he actually reminds Lu Bu of that time Liu Bei helped him, the incident with shooting the halberd.
Oh, right, at the Archer's Gate. Lu Bu owed him one, technically.
Exactly. It's a huge gamble by Mizu, playing on pride on that specific past event, and it works.
It works. Lu Bu lets him go.
Yeah. Lu Bu says something like, I have old ties with Xuan De, that's Liu Bei. How could I harm his family? He tells Mizu to take them all to Zuzu for safety.
That's stunning.
Yeah.
Genuinely stunning from Lu Bu. So Lu Bu then moves on to Yanzu, right? And leaves Gao Shen and Zhang Liao holding Xiaopei.
Correct. And meanwhile, Liu Bei's brothers, Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, and his advisor, Sun Qin, they're all scattered, hiding out in the mountains, basically.
So Liu Bei is totally alone. Well, almost.
Almost. Sun Qin manages to find him. And Sun Qin, always the pragmatist, says, look, you've lost everything. Your best bet. Go to Cao Cao.
Cao Cao. After everything.
Yeah, seek refuge with him. And Liu Bei, having literally nothing left, agrees. They set off.
It's kind of a pattern with Liu Bei, isn't it? Relying on others when he's down and out.
It is. He's lost his base, his army, his family's effectively captured. He's completely vulnerable. But here's the thing. His reputation still means something.
How so?
Well, the text says as they're traveling, trying to find food in villages, people hear that Lu Yuzu, Liu Bei, the imperial protector, is there, and they just offer him food eagerly. Even in defeat, his name commands respect.
That's actually incredible. Shows the power of that perceived virtue, even then.
Yeah. He meets Cao Cao near Liangcheng, recounts everything, losing the city, his brothers, his family.
So Liu Bei is now with Cao Cao. And Cao Cao doesn't wait around, does he?
Oh, not at all. He immediately pivots to deal with Lu Bu, sends Cao Ren with troops to hit Pei City again.
And Cao Cao himself leads the main army, with Liu Bei tagging along.
Yep. Liu Bei is now part of Cao Cao's entourage, heading straight for Lu Bu. Classic Cao Cao swift, decisive action.
And they run into trouble on the way.
They do.
Yeah.
Near Shaoguan in Shandong, they encounter this big force, like 30,000 Taishan bandits, led by 4 chiefs, Sun Guan, Wu Dun, Yin Li, Cheng Shi.
30,000. That's a serious obstacle.
It could be. But Cao Cao has Zhu Chu, his powerhouse general. Zhu Chu rides out and incredibly takes on all 4 bandit leaders at once.
Not 4, seriously.
Simultaneously. And drives them off. Just an amazing feat of strength and skill. Clears the way.
Zhu Chu sounds terrifying. Okay, so the bandits are dealt with. But the real danger to Lu Bu isn't necessarily Cao Cao's army, is it? It's closer to home.
Ah, yes. Now we get to the really intricate part. The web of betrayal woven by the Chen family. Chen Yi and his son, Chen Deng.
Right, this is layered stuff. How does it start?
It starts with the father, Chen Gui. He basically tells his son, Chen Deng, look, Cao Cao trusted you before. It's time to turn on Lu Bu.
So direct incitement.
Pretty much. And Chen Deng says, don't worry, Dad, I've got a plan. Even if Lu Bu tries to fall back to Zuzu, I'll handle it.
Cunning kid. So what's the plan?
First step, manipulate Lu Bu. Chen Deng goes to Lu Bu with seemingly smart advice. He says, hey, maybe move your supplies, your family to Shapi, just as a fallback, in case Zuzu gets besieged.
And Lu Bu buys it?
Hook, line, and sinker. Trusts Chen Deng completely, sends Songshan and Wei Zhu off to Shapi to manage the move.
Okay, so he's separating Lu Bu from his resources and family. Smart. What's next?
Next is the deception at Shaguan Pass. Chen Deng convinces Lu Bu to let him go scout ahead.
Uh-oh. Letting the fox scout the henhouse.
Pretty much. Once he's there, he talks to Chen Gong, Lu Bu's main strategist. He pretends Lu Bu is furious with them for not advancing faster. Sows discord. Then, secretly, he shoots arrows over the wall with messages tied to them, right into Cao Cao's camp.
Whoa. Bold move. Communicating with the enemy right under Chen Gong's nose.
Exactly. Then comes the fake signal. Chen Deng convinces Chen Gong that Cao Cao's troops are already inside the pass, maybe heading for Zuzu. Panics him into abandoning the pass.
So Chen Gong pulls his troops out.
He does, and then Chen Deng lights this signal fire. Lu Bu sees it from afar, thinks it's a signal to advance or attack, rides into the pass in the dark, and runs right into Chen Gong's retreating forces. In the dark, total confusion, they end up fighting each other. Lu Bu's men versus Chen Gong's men.
Oh, that's brilliant. Diabolical, but brilliant.
Total chaos. And then, while they're busy fighting themselves, Cao Cao's army sweeps in and mops up. Masterfully orchestrated disaster by Chen Deng.
Unbelievable. And the betrayal isn't even over, is it?
Not even close. Lu Bu manages to escape the pass, makes it back to Zuzu City, only to find the gates barred against him.
Sealed tight. Who's on the wall?
It's Mizu, the same guy who saved Liu Bei's family. Now he's yelling down at Lu Bu, refusing him entry. And get this, he claims he's killed Chen Gi.
What? But Chen Gi was Chen Deng's father, the one who started the plot.
Exactly. It's pure misdirection. Blaming the dead father to cover the son's tracks. Lu Bu is completely shut out of his own city.
This is just layer upon layer. What about Lu Bu's other generals? Gao Shun, Zhan Liao.
Also victims of Chen Deng's scheming. Chen Deng sends them fake messages saying Lu Bu is trapped somewhere else, needs help, sends them off on wild goose chases, scattering Lu Bu's remaining strength.
So Chen Gong figures it out eventually.
Yeah, Chen Gong realizes what Chen Deng has done, calls him a flattering villain. But it's way too late. Lu Bu is isolated, furious, his forces are scattered or fighting each other.
Where does Lu Bu go then?
In a rage, he rushes towards Xiaopei, that other city he held, maybe hoping to regroup there. But Cao Ren, Cao Cao's general, has already taken it. Thanks to Chen Deng's manipulations, Xiaopei is already in enemy hands. The trap is sprung.
Wow. He's completely outplayed. And then Chen Deng adds insult to injury.
Oh yeah, Chen Deng gets up on the walls of Xiaopei, nice and safe, and yells down at Lu Bu. Calls him a rebel, calls himself a loyal Han official, just total public humiliation.
Kicking him when he's down. Brutal. So Lu Bu is truly cornered now.
Completely. He makes one last desperate attempt, attacks Xiaopei.
How does that go?
He's met by Zhang Fei. Remember, Liu Bei's brother, now fighting for Cao Cao. Zhang Fei actually defeats Gao Shun, one of Lu Bu's best generals.
Zhang Fei beats Gao Shun. Impressive.
And then Zhang Fei goes straight for Lu Bu himself. They start fighting.
Lu Bu versus Zhang Fei. That's a clash of titans.
It is. Lu Bu is arguably the greatest warrior of the age. But even as they're fighting, Cao Cao's main army arrives.
The timing.
Crushing. Any hope Lu Bu had of turning this around, just gone. Overwhelmed.
So he becomes a last stand.
Pretty much. He fights fiercely like he always does, but the odds are impossible. He's forced to break away, flee eastward.
Can he escape?
Not easily. He runs right into an ambush, Guan Yu cutting off his retreat.
His own former sort of allies now blocking his path. The irony?
Deep irony. He manages to fight his way through them somehow, but his options are gone. His only route left is towards Xiapi.
Xiapi, where Chen Deng told him to send his family and supplies.
The very place. He arrives there, defeated, exhausted, and is met by Hu Cheng, another of his officers. This is basically the end of the line for Lu Bu's ambitions, cornered in his last stronghold thanks to a masterful campaign of betrayal and military pressure.
Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, sworn brothers, separated by all the chaos of war.
Can you imagine the relief? Guan Yu, he recounts, holding out in Haizu, just desperately searching for news.
And Zhang Fei, equally relieved, talking about his stand in Mangdang Mountain. They're finally back together after all that uncertainty.
Yeah, the text says they were literally in tears, just recounting everything they'd been through apart. It's powerful.
More than just personal, right? This is a big moment strategically, too.
Oh, definitely. A crucial reconsolidation of power. So once they have this emotional moment, they lead their forces straight to Liu Bei.
Their other sworn brother, the leader.
Right. They bow to him, more tears. Liu Bei himself is overcome with both sorrow and joy. It's quite a scene.
And then introductions are made.
Immediately, he introduces them both to Cao Cao.
Cao Cao, always nearby when power shifts.
And critically, Mizu meets them right away with news. Good news.
Oh.
Liu Bei's family, safe and sound, which must have been an immense relief for Liu Bei.
Huge. Okay, so he can now focus on the bigger picture, the politics, the military situation.
Precisely. Allows him to engage with what's happening right there in Zuzu.
And things were definitely happening. This wasn't just a tearful reunion. It was a major political moment.
You see the power dynamics shifting almost instantly.
How so?
Well, after these introductions, Cao Cao, ever the strategist, throws this grand banquet, ostensibly to reward the generals. But really, he makes sure he's seated right in the center, a clear symbol of his authority.
Okay, standard power play. But who's next to him? That's always telling.
Exactly. To his right, the seat of honor, he places Chen, and to his left, Liu Bei.
Interesting. So not just politeness.
Not at all. It's about publicly acknowledging and showcasing the key players he needs to secure Zuzu. He's building his coalition right there at the dinner table.
That is a powerful observation. You see the benefits of siding with Cao Cao immediately.
Right. He doesn't just feed them. He openly honors Chen and his son for their contributions.
What kind of honors?
Big ones. He adds 10 counties to Chengi's territory and appoints his son Fubo General.
Fubo General. That's a significant military title.
It is. So the message is crystal clear. Align with me, Cao Cao, and you get immediate, tangible rewards. It solidifies his position, encourages loyalty.
And shows just how fast things could move back then. Allegiances made or broken over dinner, political chess, like you said.
Cao Cao is a master at it.
Okay, so Cao Cao has cemented his control over Zuzu, rewarded his allies. Who's next on his list?
The next piece on the board is Lu Bu.
Lu Bu. Where is he at this point?
He's holed up in the city of Xiapi, and this is where Cao Cao's advisors really start to shine. Their strategic thinking comes to the forefront.
Because dealing with someone like Lu Bu, tricky, especially when he's cornered.
Exactly. How do you handle that? Cheng Yu, one of Cao Cao's top strategists, gives some incredibly smart advice here.
What does he say?
He warns Cao Cao, basically, don't push Lu Bu too hard. He predicts that if they corner him completely, Lu Bu will just fight to the death.
Makes sense.
Or worse, he might join forces with Yuan Shu down south, which would make him almost impossible to beat.
So Cheng Yu's plan.
Guard the Huainan route. Block Lu Bu's escape south. Block any potential help from Yuan Shu. Containment!
Smart. Not just about attacking Lu Bu directly.
Right. And he also reminds Cao Cao, hey, don't forget about those rebels still active in Shandong. Zhang Ba, Sun Guan, keep an eye on them too. Comprehensive thinking.
Thinking multiple moves ahead? That's classic Cheng Yu. Did Cao Cao listen?
He did. He took it seriously. Cao Cao decided he'd handle the Shandong situation himself.
Okay, and the Huainan route, the key containment line.
He assigns Liu Bei to guard it. Shrewd move, maybe testing Liu Bei's loyalty too.
And Liu Bei agrees.
Without question. So Liu Bei, Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Sun Qian, they head off to hold that southern route, while Cao Cao takes the main army straight for Xiapi.
Right. Meanwhile, inside Xiapi, how's Lu Bu feeling?
Pretty confident, actually. He's boasting, we've got plenty of food, we've got the Sea River as a natural defense. He thinks he can just sit tight and wait them out.
But his own advisor, Gong, he probably had other ideas.
Oh, completely different. Gong was brilliant, and he urged Lu Bu to strike immediately.
Attack Cao Cao.
While they're just arriving.
Exactly. He says their camps aren't even settled yet. They're tired from the march. Hit them now while they're disorganized. We'll win for sure. It was a bold move. High risk, high reward.
But Lu Bu, let me guess,
refused. Despite recent defeats, he says, nah, I've lost too many times lately. We shouldn't rush out. Let them attack us first. Then we'll smash them against the Sea River.
He just ignored Gong's advice.
Wow. Completely ignored it. And sure enough, a few days later, Cao Cao's camps are fully set up, strong position.
And then Cao Cao tries a different tactic.
Psychological warfare. He rides up to the city walls, calls out to Lu Bu.
What does he say? Taunting him.
Sort of. He brings up the potential marriage alliance between Lu Bu's daughter and Yuan Shu, calls Yuan Shu a traitor, reminds Lu Bu of his past glory fighting Dong Zhuo, basically saying, don't throw it all away siding with a rebel.
Trying to drive a wedge. Make him doubt. Exactly. Surrender now, he says, and we can work together for the emperor. You won't lose your title.
Did it work? Did Lu Bu consider it?
He seemed to. He actually says, let the prime minister withdraw for a bit. I need to think about this. But then Chen Gong, standing right there next to Lu Bu, just loses it.
Oh boy.
He starts cursing Cao Cao, calls him a villain, and actually shoots an arrow that hits the canopy over Cao Cao's head.
Whoa. Okay, so much for negotiation.
Yeah, Cao Cao is furious, swears he'll kill Chen Gong, and immediately launches the attack on the city. Diplomacy over.
So Chen Gong tries another strategy, since the direct assault failed.
He does. A truly ingenious one, actually. He goes back to Lu Bu.
What's the plan this time?
He says, look, Cao Cao's army is far from home. They can't sustain a long siege. General, you should take your best cavalry and infantry, camp outside the city. I'll lead the rest and defend from inside. If Cao Cao attacked you outside, I'll hit his rear. If he attacks the city, you rescue us from outside.
A pincer movement. Using the city itself as one arm of the pincer.
Exactly. Chen Gong figures, within 10 days, Cao Cao will run out of supplies. Then they can crush him. It's a classic strategy.
Brilliant. Exploiting Cao Cao's logistics. Did Lu Bu agree this time?
He actually did. He even went to his residence, started getting his armor ready. It's winter, so he's telling attendants to pack warm clothes.
Finally, some decisive action, but I sense a but coming.
A big but. His wife, Lady Yan, hears what's happening. She comes out, asks where he's going.
And when he tells her the plan,
She bursts into tears. She pleads with him, if you leave the city, leave your wife and children, go out with just a small force. What if something goes wrong? How could I possibly remain your wife?
oh wow, a direct emotional appeal.
Overwhelmingly emotional. And Lu Bu, faced with this, he hesitates. He pauses. For 3 whole days, he doesn't move. He doesn't implement the plan.
3 days. Chen Gong must have been frantic.
Beside himself. He confronts Lu Bu again. Cao Cao has surrounded us completely now. If you don't go out soon, we are absolutely trapped.
And Lu Bu's response?
Yeah.
Still listening to his wife.
Yes. He insists, I've thought about it. It's better to defend from inside. Just completely swayed.
Unbelievable. Does Chen Gong have another plan?
He does. He's persistent. He tries one more time. He says, okay, I just heard Cao Cao's running low on provisions. They've sent back to Zhuchang for more supplies.
The supply line weakness again.
Exactly. General, Chen Gong urges, take your best troops right out and cut off those supply lines. It's a perfect opportunity.
Okay, this sounds like something even Lu Bu might go for. Less risk than camping outside, maybe.
Lu Bu seemed to agree. He seemed ready to do it. But then...
He went back inside to tell Lady Yan again.
He did, and she starts crying even harder this time.
Oh no.
She lays it on thick. General, if you go out, how can Chen Gong and Gao Shun possibly hold the city alone? If anything goes wrong, you'll regret it forever.
Wow.
She even brings up the past. Remember when I was abandoned in Cheng? Only Pang Shu saved me. Are you going to abandon me again? Your future is bright. Please don't worry about me. And she just completely breaks down.
That's intense manipulation almost.
Yeah.
Guilt-tripping him.
It worked. Lu Bu is just overwhelmed, troubled, indecisive again. He even goes to consult Diao Chan.
The famous beauty. What does she say?
She also urges caution. General, please just make your decision for me. Don't put yourself in danger. More emotional pressure.
It's like a perfect storm of personal appeals against sound strategy.
It really is. Lu Bu tries to sound confident. He dosts.
About his weapon and horse.
Yeah. Don't worry. I have my sky-piercing halberd. I have red hair. Who dares approach me? Famous weapon, legendary horse. He thinks he's invincible.
But it's just talk at this point.
Right. Because then he goes back out to Chen Gong and delivers the fatal blow to any strategic action.
What does he say?
He says, Cao Cao, claiming he needs supplies. That's a trick. Cao Cao is full of cunning schemes. I dare not move.
He chooses paranoia and inaction over the potential opportunity.
Exactly. And Chen Gong, hearing this final refusal, he just walks away, utterly defeated.
And he says something truly chilling, doesn't he?
He laments, we will die without a burial place. He sees the end coming.
And Lu Bu, what does he do?
Tragically, he just stays inside, drinking with Lady Yan and Diao Chan, trying to, I guess, numb his worries, while Cao Cao's army tightens the noose around Xiapi. Lu Bu's situation is, well, it's about as dire as it gets, right? He's besieged, totally hemmed in by Cao Cao. What's his first desperate move? What does that tell us about him?
Well, his first big idea, it speaks volumes. He tries to get military help and, crucially, a marriage alliance with Yuan Shu down in Wine. It's not just grabbing any ally. It's a huge gamble. He's trying to tie his fate to another powerful warlord through family, through military support.
And Yuan Shu was a big deal back then, was it?
Oh, absolutely. Formidable forces. Getting him on side was pretty much Lu Bu's only real hope of breaking the siege. Yuan Shu was the lifeline he was desperately reaching for.
Okay, so plan A is the alliance. How does he try to make contact? He needs to get his message out of the besieged city first. Who does he pick for that job?
Right, a critical first step. He sends out his strategists, Juicy and Wang Kai, to negotiate with Yuan Shu. But getting them out meant punching through Cao Cao's lines. So he tasks two of his top generals, Zhang Liao and Hao Meng, with 1,000 troops to basically force a breakout. It's a serious commitment of men he probably couldn't really afford to lose.
1,000 troops? That's not insignificant. And kind of surprisingly, they actually manage it, at least initially.
Yeah, they do. They make a successful break, slipping past Liu Bei's section of the siege lines during the night. A brief moment of success, you could say.
What does that initial gamble, relying on a risky breakout, tell you about Lu Bu's style here?
It really underscores his tendency towards audacity, maybe even recklessness. It's about individual daring, a sudden strike, rather than maybe a more layered, strategic plan. It's a kind of move you see from someone pushed right to the edge.
But it's a short-lived success. The story takes a twist. Xu Xi and Wang Kai, they eventually make it back. Hao Meng, he escorts the envoys part of the way with 500 men, but when he tries to get back into Xiapi...
Exactly. Zhang Fei intercepts him on the return trip, and apparently Zhang Fei just captures him in a single move. Very dramatic.
And the fallout is immediate. Hao Meng gets taken to Liu Bei and then straight to the big boss, Cao Cao, and under interrogation.
He spills everything, the whole plan, the marriage alliance, the request for aid, all of it.
Cao Cao's reaction is described as, well, furious. What does he do?
No hesitation. Hao Meng is executed. Right there, right then, at the main military gate. A very public, very brutal statement.
What kind of message is Cao Cao sending there? It seems like more than just punishing one guy.
Oh, definitely. It's a clear signal.
Yeah.
Maximum pressure. He immediately follows up with strict orders to all his commanders. Nobody gets out, no more escape attempts, no soldiers slipping away. Violate the order, face military law. He's tightening the noose, using fear to maintain absolute control over this huge, complex siege operation.
And Liu Bei sees all this go down. He has this interesting chat with Guan Yu and Zhang Fei afterwards. He basically says Cao Cao's harsh discipline is necessary, right, for commanding such a massive army. He warns his brothers not to cross Cao Cao.
Yeah, it's a telling moment. Liu Bei recognizes that managing an army this size, especially one with different factions and powerful generals, requires an iron fist. You can't afford any weakness, any insubordination.
Still, it makes you think about that line between necessary discipline and just, ruling by fear, especially back then.
It's a fine line, absolutely.
Yeah.
But in this context, Cao Cao's ruthlessness is portrayed as almost essential for maintaining command cohesion. Liu Bei gets it discipline, even harsh discipline, is key when the stakes are this high. It speaks to Cao Cao's ability to impose his will.
So that first attempt was a complete disaster. Hao Meng executed, the plan exposed. But Lu Bu is still desperate. His envoys, Xu Xi and Wang Kai, they eventually make it back somehow.
They do, yes. They return, but with Yuan Shu's condition. Send the daughter first, then I'll send troops. No daughter, no deal.
Wow. So Yuan Shu wants proof of commitment before he lifts a finger. That forces Lu Bu's hand in a really personal way, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It leads to this critical, almost unthinkable decision. Lu Bu has to try and escort his own daughter out himself.
How do they plan this attempt? It sounds even riskier.
They plan carefully. They choose the next night, specific hours between 7 and 11 p.m. roughly. They gather a force, Zhang Liao and Gao Shun again, this time with 3,000 troops, and a small carriage for the daughter. Every detail is crucial.
And then comes this image that it sticks with you. The source describes Lu Bu, the fearsome warrior, preparing his daughter for this escape.
It's incredibly vivid. He wraps her in layers of cotton, puts armor over the cotton for protection, and then physically carries her on his back, straps her to him. Then he grabs his halberd, gets on his horse, and charges out.
I mean, that's just, wow, the desperation of a father. It makes him suddenly very human, doesn't it? Beyond the whole invincible warrior persona.
Completely. It shows that conflict between the general needing to break out and the father terrified for his child. He's putting everything, including his own life and hers, on this one incredibly risky direct charge.
But this attempt fails too, right? How does it go wrong this time?
They run straight into an ambush, or at least a very prepared defense, at Liu Bei's camp again. And this time, it's not just Zhang Fei, it's Guan Yu, Liu Bei himself, plus two of Cao Cao's top generals, Zhu Huang and Xu Ju. They're waiting for him.
So a massive welcoming party. Even for Lu Bu, that's overwhelming odds.
Exactly. And despite his legendary fighting skill, the text says his fear for his daughter holds him back. He can't fight flat out, recklessly, because she's literally strapped to his back. He can't risk her getting hurt in the chaos.
So he has to pull back.
He's forced to retreat, back into the city. And the account is stark. Not a single person made it out that night. A complete failure. Utterly devastating for morale, you have to imagine.
Okay, so 2 escape attempts, both failed spectacularly. 2 months drag on. Cao Cao's stuck outside Xiapi. What's going through his mind at this point? Sieges are costly.
Right. Even for someone like Cao Cao, a long stalemate is problematic. He's got other worries, major threats elsewhere. You got Yuan Shao up north, a huge rival. You got Liu Biao and Zhang Ji to the east. These aren't minor players. They could cause real trouble while Cao Cao's tied down here.
And there's that little side story about Zhang Yang too, right? That kind of adds to the background noise Cao Cao's dealing with.
Exactly. News comes in about this Governor Zhang Yang being killed by his own subordinate, Yang Chao. Then Yang Chao gets killed by one of Zhang Yang's loyalists, Sui Gu, who then flees. And Cao Cao, ever the opportunist, or perhaps just needing to maintain order, immediately sends troops after Sui Gu. It just highlights that the world doesn't stop turning just because he's besieging Xiapi. There are other fires to put out, other threats emerging.
So with all this going on, the stalemate, the external threats, Cao Cao actually considers packing it in, just lifting the siege.
He does. He actually voices the thought of abandoning the siege of Xiapi and heading back to the capital. Maybe cut his losses for now, deal with Liu Bu later, and focus on the bigger picture threats.
But this is where his advisors step up, isn't it? His brain trust.
Absolutely crucial moment. His strategists intervene. First, Sun Yu argues strongly against retreating.
What's his reasoning?
He points out that Liu Bu's have been beaten repeatedly, his morale is rock bottom, and his main strategist, Chen Gong, while smart, is described as being sort of slow and indecisive. Sun Yu says, hit them now, hit them hard while Liu Bu's spirit is broken, and before Chen Gong can cook up some clever last-ditch plan, don't give him breathing room.
Makes sense. Keep the pressure on. But then Gojia comes in with something even more decisive.
Yes, Gojia basically says he has a plan to take Xiapi immediately, and it's better than bringing in like 200,000 more soldiers. A very bold claim.
And what's the plan? Does he spell it out?
He hints at it, and it's Sun Yu who immediately gets it, the idea. Divert the Yi and Sai rivers, flood the city.
Flood the city. Wow, that's unconventional. Using the landscape itself as a weapon.
Totally. It bypasses the need for costly assaults on the walls. It's a brilliant, if absolutely ruthless, strategic move, turning the city's geography against it.
And Cao Cao, he goes for it, just like that.
Instantly. He sees the genius, or perhaps the brutal efficiency of it. Orders are given, the rivers are diverted, and soon Xiapi is inundated. Water everywhere, cutting it off completely, except for the east gate, which remained dry for some reason. The city is essentially drowning.
Incredible. So while Cao Cao is pulling off this masterstroke of strategic engineering, what's happening inside the walls with Liu Bu? How does he react to being flooded?
It's quite the contrast. Initially, Liu Bu is almost dismissive, cocky even. He boasts about his famous horse red hair, saying it can cross water like it's nothing.
So denial or just overconfidence?
Probably a bit of both.
Yeah.
But instead of, trying to counter this new threat, what does he do? He descends into heavy drinking, spending his days and nights with his wives and concubines, basically drowning his sorrows while the city drowns in water.
That seems like a terrible leadership choice at this critical moment.
It's fatal. While Cao Cao and his team are executing this brilliant, devastating plan, Liu Bu is essentially abdicating his responsibility. He's undermining his own command, his own morale from the inside out. His troops must have seen it. His personal failure is becoming a strategic liability.
But then there's that moment where he catches sight of himself in a mirror.
Yeah, a rare flash of self-awareness. He looks in a mirror and is apparently shocked by how wasted he looks, blaming it on wine and women. And this realization actually jolts him into action, sort of.
What does he do? Try to rally the troops?
He decides to quit drinking, but he takes it to an extreme. He issues a citywide decree. Anyone else caught drinking gets executed.
Wow. Talk about projecting. So trying to impose discipline on others because his own failed him.
Pretty much. It's a desperate, almost panicked measure, born from his own sudden shame, but probably far too little, far too late to actually change the strategic situation or restore his own crumbling authority.
Lu Bu's general, Chen, he actually manages, in a pretty impressive feat, to recover a significant number of his horses that were stolen. You'd think that's unequivocally good news, right? A moment for celebration.
You would absolutely think so. I mean,
Yeah.
we got the horses back. So to celebrate this recovery and maybe, foster some camaraderie, Hu Cheng brewed several large jars of wine, 5 or 6 Hu, the text says. He intended to share it with his fellow generals. As a courtesy, he even sent 5 bottles to Lu Bu's residence first.
Ah, but instead of a celebratory nod, Lu Bu's reaction was, well, explosive. He was absolutely furious. Wine brewing was forbidden during the siege, apparently. And he immediately accused Ho Chang of conspiring against him, demanded his execution right there on the spot. It really highlights how paranoid and volatile Lu Bu had become, doesn't it?
It really does. This incident is more than just an outburst. It's a critical moment. It reveals a lot about Lu Bu's deteriorating leadership. So other generals, Song Xian and Wei Shu among them, they rushed in to plead for Hu Cheng's life. Lu Bu, after some persuasion, softened the punishment to 50 lashes. Beihua, the text calls it. But the key here isn't just the physical pain. The source specifically notes that all the generals present were left dejected and disheartened. This act of tyranny, punishing loyalty and initiative, well, it created a deep rift.
Yeah, that makes sense. And here's where the seeds of betrayal are truly sown, I think. Song Xian's quiet observation to Hu Qing that Lu Bu listens to wives and concubines, not generals' plans, and views his loyal officers as grass, that's crucial. This isn't just a personal slight, is it? It's a fatal flaw for any leader.
He can
The
be
inability to value and retain crucial talent. It highlights how internal disrespect can become, well, a more potent enemy than any external siege.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is how quickly this personal slight escalated into a full-blown conspiracy. It wasn't just Hu Cheng who felt the sting, you see. The 3 generals, Hu Cheng, Song Xian, and Wei Shu, were already lamenting their dire situation. They were besieged by Cao Cao's forces, remember. So this combined with Lu Bu's tyranny convinced them that his no humanity, no righteousness, as they put it, justified betraying him. They debated whether to simply abandon him or, more decisively, capture him to present to Cao Cao.
It does seem almost too quick, though, for a seemingly minor incident to trigger such a massive conspiracy. Was this truly the sole catalyst, or were there maybe deeper currents of discontent simmering beneath the surface before the whole horse and wine thing?
That's an excellent point. And yeah, while the horse and wine incident was the immediate trigger, the source strongly suggests that the discontent was already significant. Lu Bu's prior actions, his unpredictability, his inability to trust his own men that had already eroded their loyalty.
Yeah.
The incident simply provided the definitive justification and the opportune moment for them to act on their existing grievances.
Right, okay. So, with the decision made, this is where Hao Cheng's desperation, or maybe tactical genius, truly shines. He suggested the master stroke, stealing Lu Bu's prized red hair horse. He knew this was Lu Bu's key reliance, his very symbol of power and escape. Talk about hitting him where it hurts.
Indeed. A very symbolic move. The plan was set in motion that very night. Hao Cheng secretly made his way into the horse stable and, under the cover of darkness, stole the red hair. And this wasn't just about depriving Lu Bu of a mount. It was a psychological blow, stripping him of a powerful symbol and his most reliable means of personal escape.
And then came the East Gate deception. This is clever. Wei Zhu opened the gate for Hu Cheng, letting him escape, but also feigned a dramatic chase. So it created this convincing illusion that Hao Cheng was merely fleeing the city after being caught stealing the horse. Brilliant misdirection.
It really was. Hao Cheng then rode straight to Cao Cao's camp, no messing about. There, he presented the magnificent red hair as proof of his intentions, and he revealed the full plot, including the prearranged signal for Song Shan and Wei Zhu. They would display white flags on the city walls, indicating they were ready to open the city gates. This information was absolute gold for Cao Cao.
You bet. And with this critical intelligence, Cao Cao didn't hesitate. He immediately responded by shooting numerous proclamations into the city. Beng Yu, the text calls them. These messages were stark, full extermination for any resistance, but high rewards for Lu Bu's capture or his head. This was a clear message designed to turn the people and any wavering soldiers against their leader. Psychological warfare.
Absolutely. So the next morning, the assault began. Shouts shaking the earth, as the source puts it. Cao Cao's massive army launched their final attack. Lu Bu was completely surprised by this sudden surge. He grabbed his halberd and personally went to defend the city. He even managed to scold Wei Shu for the lost red hair in the heat of battle. Can you imagine? But by then, it was too late. Cao Cao's troops already saw the white flags fluttering on the city walls, the unmistakable signal that the city was compromised from within.
Wow. So Lu Bu fights valiantly, but how long can one man hold out against a full siege, especially with, internal treachery happening? Did his resilience eventually just wane? Did that create the opening for his enemies inside?
Well, yes, basically. After fighting from dawn until noon, sheer exhaustion overcame him. The text says he took a brief rest, falling asleep on a chair in the gate tower. That was the vulnerability his betrayers Song Jian and Wei Shu had been waiting for. This was their moment.
And they seized it. Ruthless. Song Shan and Wei Shu chased away Lu Bu's attendants, stole his iconic painted halberd, the Huaji, and they bound him tightly with ropes. Just like that. The mighty Lu Bu.
Exactly. With Lu Bu captured, Wei Shu shouted the confirmation to the besieging army outside. And as a further signal, maybe because Xia Huan initially doubted the betrayal was real, Song Qian dramatically threw Lu Bu's halberd down from the wall. The city gates were then thrown open and Cao Cao's army poured in. Meanwhile, Lu Bu's other key generals, Gao Xun and Zhang Liao, were captured at the west gate. They were already severely hampered by that water siege Cao Cao had set up earlier. And Chen Gong was apprehended at the south gate by Xu Huang. It all fell apart very quickly.
So the scene then shifts to the White Gate Tower, a stage, really, for the final judgments. Cao Cao entered the city, immediately ordered the floodwaters to recede and pacified the civilians. Smart move. Then he ascended the tower with Liu Bei, flanked by Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, to confront the captured generals. Must have been quite a scene.
Oh, absolutely. Lu Bu, despite his formidable size, was tightly bound. He complained to Cao Cao, asking for the ropes to be loosened a bit. Cao Cao's reply was chillingly practical, wasn't it? One must bind a tiger tightly. It really underscores his strategic, maybe ruthless mindset.
Definitely. Then Lu Bu turned to his betrayers, demanding, "I treated you generals not badly. How could you betray me?" Song Xin's harsh reply cut him deep. "You listen to your wives, not your generals." The text says Lu Bu fell silent after that, a stark reminder of how a leader's perceived favoritism can just poison trust, I guess.
And here's the real turning point for Lu Bu. He made a desperate appeal to Cao Cao and Liu Bei. He said something like, "You, my lord, only worry about me. I'm now subdued. If you act as the great general and I as your subordinate, conquering the world would not be difficult." Cao Cao actually looked to Liu Bei for a response, clearly weighing the possibility. Imagine Lu Bu as your general.
Wow. And Liu Bei's response, it was incredibly concise and just damning, wasn't it? Sealed Lu Bu's fate right there. Have you not seen the matters of Ding Jianyang and Dong Zhu? Just like that. Was that moment the definitive turning point, or was Lu Bu's fate already kind of sealed by his past actions and reputation? Liu Bei just confirmed the inevitable.
That's a profound question. Lu Bu's reputation for betraying his adoptive fathers, Ding Yuan and Dong Zhuo, was infamous. Everyone knew it. Liu Bei's short phrase was just a stark reminder of that pattern, playing directly on Cao Cao's legitimate concerns about loyalty. While Lu Bu's character likely sealed his fate long before this moment, Liu Bei's direct and public affirmation, it removed any doubt or temptation Cao Cao might have had. It was the final, fatal nail in the coffin.
Yeah, makes sense. Lu Bu, enraged, then unleashed this flurry of insults at Liu Bei, called him faithless, then big-eared boy, which is quite the insult. And he even reminded him of the halberd shooting at the camp gate incident, a past act where Lu Bu actually saved Liu Bei. But this was a critical miscalculation, wasn't it? In that political arena, a past favor rarely outweighs present expediency, especially when your reputation for loyalty is already, well, shot.
Completely shot. It was no use. Cao Cao gave the command. Lu Bu was to be strangled, then beheaded.
A brutal end.
Next, Gao Shen was brought forward. He stood stoically, refusing to utter a single word to Cao Cao, just silence. And he was immediately executed. His silence in a way speaks volumes about his unwavering loyalty to Lu Bu, even in defeat.
Then came Chen Gong, a truly courageous figure, this one. Cao Cao recognized him, acknowledged their past association. But Chen Gong was defiant. He launched into this powerful and cutting critique of Cao Cao. "Your heart is not righteous, that is why I abandon you." And later, even in defeat, he stood firm, saying, "Lu Bu, though without strategy, is not like you, deceitful and treacherous." Strong words.
Very strong. He expressed profound regret for Lu Bu's fate, stating, "I regret this man did not follow my advice. If he had, he might not have been captured." He took some responsibility almost. When asked about his own fate, Chen Gong boldly declared, "Today there is only death." His conviction is truly remarkable.
Yeah, and Cao Cao surprisingly tried to sway him, mentioning his elderly mother and wife, trying to find a weak spot. But Chen Gong's response was so noble, wasn't it? A testament to his principles even facing death. He said something like, "A ruler who governs with filial piety does not harm the family of others. The survival of my mother and wife depends on you, my lord. Since my body is captured, I ask only to be executed without any further concern."
Just incredible resolve. The source tells us Cao Cao was visibly emotional, actually shedding tears. And he immediately ordered Chen Gong's family to be sent to Zhuchang, promising to care for them. Chen Gong, steadfast, walked to his execution without looking back. The text says his display of unwavering loyalty was later praised in a poem. His willingness to sacrifice everything for his principles is quite extraordinary, isn't it? It really makes you consider where you draw your own lines, especially when facing such immense pressure.
Absolutely, it really does. Finally, we come to Zhang Liao. Cao Cao recognized him, and Zhang Liao confirmed they'd met before. Then Zhang Liao delivered this audacious insult that could easily have cost him his life. "It's a pity the fire wasn't big enough to burn you, national thief."
Bold is an understatement. Cao Cao, absolutely furious at this defiance, drew his sword, intent on personally executing Zhang Liao right then and there. Zhang Liao, showing zero fear, simply offered his neck. Just incredible nerve. But just as Cao Cao was about to strike, two unnamed figures behind him intervened. One pulling his arm, the other kneeling before him saying, "Chancellor, do not act hastily," leaving Zhang Liao's fate hanging. A dramatic cliffhanger for sure.